Do you want to start talking first? Do you want to introduce it so we don't talk over each other? Chief, it's worrying that you don't look like you can hear me right now.
Hello everybody, welcome to the episode 2 of Dot by Dot. I'm Norris Noffen and I'm with V Oyster. Hello Oyster.
Hey everybody, it's great to be here.
It's great to be here for the third week consecutively. We try to success to keep the planning
My
and to
friend, we're
stay
on a big
every
roll.
week. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. You're still in India?
Yeah, it's hot as hell over here. Very, very hot. But I'm
Yeah,
surviving.
well, it's still hot in France too. You know, in August, sometime in France, it can be hot. But it's acceptable. It's better than in India.
I have no sympathy for you, my friend.
So welcome everybody to join to this live. I hope you will like. Today's subject of the day we want to present to you it's Bifrost Finance. It's a project I really appreciate and use a lot in my day-to-day. And I hope we'll show you some topic, give you some information, maybe give you some knowledge on it, also on what they will do and others. And really, if you have some question, really don't hesitate to ask all the question you want. And on the second part, as usual, we'll have the news, the news will be shown by the hoster this week. As you know, every week we change. One time the news is for me, one time is for the hoster, and the presentation is changed. So I hope you will have some good news today, Oyster.
You and me both, my friend. It's I think August, or for me anyway, like August is like quiet news season, so it's a little bit quieter on these in the markets, I guess. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that's some
quite.
exciting news for this week.
Yeah, it's quite, but you can find some interesting topic because even if there are not so many information, they can have some good news or some bad news also, and you can see what is ongoing because what is important is to see what will arrive in the next month.
For sure, good or bad.
Yeah, you have some loss of connection by moment, but it's okay.
Okay.
So, I think we directly begin by the presentation. So I will share my screen. Up. So today, dot by dot, episode 2, Bifrost Finance. So Bifrost Finance, there are one important topic to say to begin for them. They exist on the both network, Polkadot and Kusama. And when we see currently there are many projects on Kusama, there are really not many interest in Kusama in this moment. It's a very bad cycle for Kusama. And one good topic for Bifrost, it was the same token for the both. So we don't have issue with the token of Kusama side. They lost a lot of value because as it's also the token for Polkadot side, this is great. So you have only one token for the both network. As you know, I think the main product of Bifrost Finance is really their liquid stacking token. And they make liquid stacking token for a lot of token and soon in the future. So the principle, we have DOT, Ethereum, Filecoin, Glimmer of Moonbeam, Kusama, Moonriver, and BNC. And some will arrive in the future. So my presentation will speak a lot of this point because I think it's the most important point for Bifrost to see this point. After, they have another project, Liquid Crowdloan Token. Globally, we know that in the future, the crowdloan will be stopped. And so it will not be used in the future. And it's not a liquid crowdloan token I like because it's not possible to make arbitrary, to make DeFi operation. They don't have many movement and others. We don't have many opportunity on it on the secondary market because what interesting me in all this liquid crowdloan token is not only on the primary market. What interesting me is the secondary market where we can take opportunity. And here, they don't have many movement, they don't have many liquidity, not so nice. After, in the Bifrost Finance, you have a DEX. It's a classic AMM DEX. Principally, the pool is to support all their current liquid stacking token. And there are also some other pool. And after, we'll speak of some interesting news to see that Bifrost is more and more integrated on the ecosystem with the Omnipole. An interesting topic for the tokenomics, we have a change of commission rates, and you will see there are some new tokenomics have been released by Bifrost very recently. So this is globally the program we have today for Bifrost. First to begin, for the liquid stacking, it's all their V token. So the VKSM, the VDOT, and you will see their statistic every week on Twitter, so you can be really follow what happened and how it's the progress and others. And you will see that they're currently, especially if we look the main token, because for me the main token still is DOT, they are a good advance on the project. Here also we can see the different API. By using Bifrost liquid stacking token, you don't need to select the validator and others. You have always a selection of the validator by Bifrost, and this can give you a better API compared to do it by yourself, or also compared to the other liquid stacking product. We see a better API here. You can see the API changing every week. It's not a static API, of course. It can change. there are risks with the time to decrease because more and more you have dot, more and more you will be near of the average of the network, of course. But this is interesting. Also, you will see a line that is very important, and it's why for me it's one of the most interesting product of liquid staking. It's their unstaking period, because you see their unstaking period is globally always between 0 and the maximum of the day. So it means below some condition you can unstaking without waiting time. And this is something can be very interesting, because if we take the case of dot token for 28 days is more than 1% of loss of revenue, 1 month of stacking. So this can be really important from my point of view. Especially it can help also if you want to change of protocol, to change of topic. If you need to move outside of Bifrost, in some condition, you can exit very fast without fee. As I was speaking before, if we compare the different liquid stacking protocol, we have Akala, Parallel, and Bifrost. We have also the Lido in Moonbeam, but the Lido in Moonbeam is stopped. So it will not exist anymore. So Akala, if you can see, due to different reasons, the number of dots in their liquid stacking have really go down a lot. And now it's flat. Since the AUSD issue, it's flat. There may be a lot of token in the liquid staking of Akala. It's maybe also the team of Akala himself. What is logic that they put their own dot inside. After we can see parallel finance that globally have been go down and globally flat. We don't see many evolution. And after we can see Bifrost then have a current, the number of dots every day is become to be more and more important, and they are near to become the second more bigger liquid stacking of dot. So me, I like when a project have a good dynamic, because here we can see that Akala with the issue in the bear market is going down. Parallel is full flat. There are no good cycle, and we see that in Bifrost, it continue to accumulate more and more liquid stacking of dot. And this for me is something very important, because it shows a dynamic. And what is important for me in crypto is to try to follow some dynamic. So to resume, the liquid stacking, you have a good APR, and as we speak 2 weeks ago on Parallel Finance, how we can enter on it. To enter on it, you can stake by using the official rate, as usual for all the liquid stacking. And here you have only one other option that needs to swap from token to the token inside the pool. Make attention, the pool, it's a pool 50-50. It's not a stable pool like Curve. So the liquidity is not infinite. What is give advantage and disadvantage. So if you want to enter inside the pool, you can by swapping directly, and you can win between 0.5 to 1%, 2% in some good case. So this is interesting. And after to exit, when you exit the V token, you have two possibilities. You have the unstaking of V token at the official rate. You will have a very small fee because you will have 0.1% of fee. I don't think that many people is aware of it, but you have a very small fee. What is really not an issue, because 0.1% is nothing. It's 1 day of stacking. And after, you have something very important when you make the unstacking by the official rate. You don't enter inside 28 days of unstacking. You enter inside a waiting queue. And so the waiting queue is between 0 instant instack, the maximum of days of the unstacking on chain of the protocol. So for Polkadot, 28 days. But it can be really less. I will explain it later. And so if nobody is in waiting queue, it's possible maybe to unstake without waiting if there are some token available. Because globally, how it's work. Each time someone enter in the liquid stacking by staking the token will be give to the people in the waiting queue. So each time someone stake, you will advance on the waiting queue to exit more faster. And this is the key point of the unstaking of Bifrost Finance liquid staking, what is make it the best way to unstake currently. This was existing in some other parachain in the past, but not available anymore. If some remember at the beginning of Karura LKSM, it was the case. It was working like this at the beginning of Karura, but it was not the case anymore after. And so for the moment, this solution of waiting queue is only on Bifrost. Also, you can exit by swapping the token to token if you really want to unstake very fast. But attention, it's a 50-50 pool. It's not a stable pool like a curve pool. So the liquidity, you need to make attention. After, this can give, for some people, possibility to make arbitrary. Because if we look this week, this is a screenshot of this week, there a crash due to someone, and during a 1, 2, 3 minutes, there are 15% of gap on the ratio. So people have lost a lot of money because when they are swapped to unstake, they have lost a lot of money, but you, if you see it, you can win money on it. And this is also important for the liquidity of the protocol. For all the protocol, it's the same. We need, for a protocol to have a good working, to have some people ready to make arbitrary, to keep the liquidity correctly. All the people they do this type of job are some people they help the protocol to have a constant good liquidity for everybody. So this is also important to have this type of user in the network. And we can see that in Bifrost, we have some people they do it, because you can see that the loss of the rate in the pool have been very fast compensated by people. And this also a good point of the healthy of the protocol. We see that the protocol, some people are ready to take action when something happens on the ratio and others, because some people are ready to make arbitrary. So it shows that the protocol is on good health because you have some people ready. Let's go a little deeper of everything you was just speaking. Inside one Discord I manage, I give to you some statistics, and the statistic can help you to take some decision. What we will see on this Discord, it's the official ratio between the liquid stacking, the V token, and the token. We can see the gap inside the pool, because the gap inside the pool is something important for you to know if you prefer to swap to unstake, or if you prefer to swap to stake than to use the official ratio. So it's, from my point of view, something important, because it helps your decision to how you want to enter or exit. And also, when you want to unstake, what we have said before, it's when you unstake, you enter inside a waiting queue. What can be interesting, it's to know what is the size of the waiting queue. For example, if we take the first screenshot here, we can see that for KSM, currently there are 49,000 KSM in unstaking. So it means that the queue will be long, because it means to unstake, you will need to wait than 50,000 KSM to be staked, or you will need to wait the 1 week usual to unstake. But if you really want to unstake fast, you can use the pool, because currently the ratio on the pool is correct. Of course, you need to make attention to your price impact. If you have a huge volume, you can have a huge price impact. But now if you look the case of Moonriver, you see that unstaking, there are nobody. And in available, I have 299. So currently, when I have taken this screenshot, so you have the number of the block, it was 2 days ago, yesterday. If you unstake 299 Moonriver, you will receive your token right now without waiting time and without any fees except the 0.1% of fee to unstake. So this is for me something important because you can know if you can unstick fast or not. We can see on the other side for Glimmer of Moonbeam, it's the same. You have some token available to unstake right now without waiting. In this, it's some information currently we don't see on the website. And I think it's something it will be nice to have on the website because for me, it's a good information. Also, the waiting queue, we don't know on the website if you don't have currently a waiting queue. If you don't have currently an unstaking ongoing, you don't know what is a waiting queue. And so inside my Discord, I can give you this type of information. So here is just some example of information I give inside my Discord to help you to take some decision on your different action with a clear interface for it.
Norris, why don't you stop for just 1 second, and why don't you just explain to people the difference between the mechanics of liquid staking and the mechanics of normal staking? Because I feel like if people don't know that, then the unstaking queue will be kind of hard to get their head around. So, like in layman's terms, why don't you kind of outline to us like what is normal staking of Glimmer or KSM, and then what is liquid staking, and why does liquid staking have this unstaking queue? Why is there a queue? You tell me.
Me again?
Why don't you explain the difference between normal staking and liquid staking to the viewers? So just globally, so that they know.
Yeah. To make a resume of it. When you stake on the network, you stake to securize the network. And against this staking where you block token, you will receive some rewards. And when you stake, to be good for the security of the network, when you want to unstake, you will have a period of time when you need to wait to receive your token without receive any rewards. The objective of the liquid staking, it's okay, you stake the token by the liquid staking, but you receive another token. Here it's the V token, V dot, VKSM, and others. This token can give some other solution. So you have the token, and the protocol that gives the token can give other solution, and also can make this token available inside some other tool to give some options. The objective of the liquid staking token is to give more option, more flexibility compared to the normal staking. It's a good resume, or if you want to add some topic?
Yeah, it's a good resume. I guess for me, how I kind of originally got my head around it is that when you're liquid staking, you're like everyone's putting all their assets together in one staking pool. And then the token you get is a receipt for your percentage of that pool. And then how the available and unavailable kind of comes into effect is what's going into that pool and what's coming out of that pool. And if someone's going into the pool at the same time that you want to go out, the protocol can just switch those around and no one has to wait. But that's unlike traditional staking where like you would have to always wait the 7 days. You can't take someone else's coins then. You always have to wait. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You go on. You're doing great.
No, it's perfect. You do great, the officer. But it's also, to continue what you explain, to explain how it calculates and how it works, the official ratio inside all this liquid staking. It's globally the number of token inside the staking divided by the number of liquid staking token. So here, V token, V dot, in circulating supply. And the ratio of these two numbers makes the official ratio between V dot and dot, for example. And after, the objective for us is to understand how all this work and to take advantage of the different opportunity. Because if we take the staking of Filecoin, do you know, Oyster, the number of days for the unstaking of Filecoin on chain?
I couldn't tell you, my friend. No idea. 20. I'll guess. I always guess. So 11. I'll say
520. More than a year.
Seems very excessive.
Yeah, and so for a token like this one, you see all the advantage to take a liquid staking token. It's really more flexibility because you imagine, if you want to sell, you need to plan 1 year and a half in advance. It's impossible.
The price of the Lambo could have changed by then, my friend. Inflation.
Exactly.
We don't even know. I do have a good technical question for you though. Can you query the ratio of the liquid staking to the receipt token on chain, or do you need to calculate that yourself? So can I go to the contract and can I say, yo, what's the ratio? Or do I need to get all the data and calculate that myself?
You need to take two values. You need to take on-chain the number of token in staking, and you need to divide it by the number of liquid staking token in supply. The ratio of these two numbers gives you the official ratio. The official ratio is not visible on chain directly, but if you just make this simple divide, you will have it. So it's very simple to find it.
It wouldn't be any fun if we didn't have to do a little bit of math, Like if we weren't doing a few calculations, it wouldn't be any fun. Anyway, back to you. Continue.
I think if we are here, it's because we like to make some mathematics. Because everything we spoke on dot by dot, it's also mathematics. It's the base. It's the base of everything.
It is. No mathematics, no arbitrage, my friend.
Yeah. So I want to give you some of my experience on the unstaking inside Bifrost Finance to show you the average time we can have by different moments. Here I have give you some screenshot of one of my wallet with some different unstaking. So do in the past, it's some data coming from April. And you can see that you have some moment, you have really 0.0 of unstaking. You unstake, you receive your money, that's all. Sometimes it's 0.2 days, it's nothing. Sometimes it will be 3 days for Kusama, 3 days on the maximum of 7. So sometimes it can be, okay, but 3 days, it's still nothing. And look in Polkadot, the average time I have. This, it was in April. So the same in Filecoin. Filecoin, it's 520 days, the normal unstaking. And here you can see. And just to showing you, it's not fake numbers because I can show it to you in live with one of my old wallet. I don't use it anymore. Here in my Polkadot, you can see the unstaking time here. And you can see it's always low. This is fact, huh? Or maybe there's some error of calculation in some, but I don't think. Huh? You see 2.5, 2.2. Okay, sometimes it's arrive. If I search, I can find a big number. It can arrive, you see, 12 days, 11 days, 0.9 and others. But it's still lower. So, okay, here I have near the maximum, 26 days, 26 days. But you see how many page I have to have unstaking? Okay, it's not always some big amount, but still it's a lot. And the same for the others. If we look for Moonbeam Glimmer, the unstaking, but you have some 0 days, some 4 days, 3 days, 1 days. It's slow. So really, it's something really interesting to make unstaking. Give you an option of unstaking really working. And this, I think it's an important topic.
Yeah, that's extremely impressive. I'm not gonna lie. That last slide that you just flicked through showing us the examples is really exciting. Like I'm not as into the Filecoin ecosystem, but taking our friendly users down from 500 days to 1 day of unstaking time is mathematically a huge jump, is a huge decrease in time.
Yeah. Alors, it's work until there are no issue in Bifrost. If everybody want to unstake in the same time, it will not work because it depends how the people enter and excite. We can see that currently the dynamic is the number of dot for the liquid staking of dot grow up. So until the time you have more dot that enter than to exit, the waiting time to unstake would be very, very low.
That's actually a great point. Like, it's very easy to get out when everyone else wants in, but if everybody wants out, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
But you will come back to the 28 days. So it's
For sure.
important also to see the dynamic. It's for this I was showing the dynamic that currently we can see in blue Bifrost for liquid staking of dot is going up. So you know that until the time it's like this, it will be simple to exit without fee. Okay, so let's speak of another subject. I don't know if you have other question, Oyster, of the chat for the liquid stacking of Bifrost.
Actually, yeah, here I do have a good question for you then. This is more just your kind of perspective or your opinion. At what point do you see it as favorable to buy these liquid staking assets? Like at what what discount? Because that's a question that I have to ask myself a lot when I'm setting up these arbitrage bots or any of these trading algorithms, is that like when is the actual time that I'm willing to,
Alors,
partake in this asset? So for some of the assets where like we can unstake instantly, we're probably willing to do 1% discount or 2% discount. But for Filecoin, where we could be waiting a year, it's probably maybe more like 5%, 6%. So how do you, just for our friendly viewers, how do you weigh that up in your mind? When is an asset, worth pulling the trigger on for you on Bifrost specifically?
alors, if we speak of a user lambda, they don't want to make many topics, they just want to enter with a good price inside the liquid stacking token. My advice in general is to swap inside the pool if the percentage of bonus is equal to the unstaking period API. So if the unstaking for DOT it's 1 month, you know then the classic staking chain is around 20% API. So you know that 1 month is represent 1.5%. So you know for a user lambda, enter inside the liquid stacking at 1.5%, it's a good entry point. This is an average logic of calculation for me because it means that at the moment you will want to unstake, it will cost you nothing because you have already be paid when you have swapped to enter. So this is my global logic. After, due to some specificity of some protocol, you cannot accept more or less. Akala, for example, is difficult to expect more than 1.5% due to their stable pool and their fast unstake at 1% fee. In Bifrost, currently the stake is kept very, very low. So even at 1% is difficult to enter. So it's really depend of you, what you think and the protocol, but my basic calculation to estimate it's what it costs to me to unstake, what it costs by not receive reward. I
Cool.
base my logic around this.
It's a very astute answer. For me, it's more just like how much liquidity can I get off and can we pick up a couple of bucks?
No, because you need to think also for big bag and other to have a slowly enter and others. And so the basic mathematics will be more this. After you need to adapt to the protocol. And after there are some different mathematical rules than me I apply, depending of different numbers. But the global rules, like the global logic, it will be more this.
I think these are really interesting trades because I think this to go deep into like actual trading side of this podcast that we love so much. These are, in my opinion, more so these are very long tail strategies. The strategies I like are like every 10 minutes I trade to make like 10 cents, like all the time, trading, buying, 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 selling. But these, in my experience, are trades that every once a month, someone will come along and just sell their whole bag and you'll be able to make 10 or 15, 20%. Like I think on our first episode, we had 30%. So it's a very long tail strategy that
this week they are 15% on Polkadot, on dot token in Bifrost.
Like
but
that's huge. That's huge.
But you need to realize that if you swap 1,000 dot inside, you will have a price impact of 8% or something like this. So you don't have an infinite quantity of dot you can pass on it. But me on this move, I know some people that make a lot of money. I have speak with one, he was very happy. It's a small bag holder, and for a small bag holder, it was really a huge benefit of the day. After, you need to realize that in general, if you do it manually, it's difficult to win against a bot. It's also for this that inside my Discord, you can see this ratio in live. So it means that you don't need to connect inside the website. You know, the website, it can be a little slow and others. Here, you have dynamic actualization. You don't need to change of network. You just change of channel on the Discord, and you can see the ratio. And this can help.
I guess so. Because we know that the Bifrost people have retweeted this, and I'm sure some of their community will see this. If we were to say, like, how can Bifrost improve in the future from the perspective of people that like to trade on all of these blocks, if we could see a concentrated liquidity, if we could see like something that offers much more liquidity, that would probably be something that you would like and you would be willing to trade more on. Am I right there?
No, you are not right. If you succeed to have a better liquidity, you have less arbitrary. So globally, one good topic can do Bifrost is to make a stable pool like curve between dot and v dot. Because globally, normally a stable pool like curve is between two tokens the same value, one USDC, one USDT. And for liquid staking token, you can do it because you know the ratio. So, okay, it's not one dot against one V dot. It's one dot against here 0.85 V dot. But finally, if you just divide the V dot by 0.85, you come back to 1 in the mathematical logic. So you can really make a stable pool like curve for liquid staking token. And it's what we see right now on Karura and Akala with the pool KSM LKSM TAI KSM token and the T dot with the dot and L dot is stable pool. And this will help the liquidity a lot. Also, for the liquidity, the V dot token in the future will be added inside the Omni pool of HydraDX. And this will help a lot the liquidity. It's something really on the pipe. It's not something we don't know.
Nice.
I will answer to you right now, Evan. I want to speak of it later. The change of the reward fee from 0.1% to 10% is not for the unstaking. The unstaking will stay at 0.1%. It's another fee that will move to 10%, but I will speak on it later. I will just finish what is live right now to speak a little more of the future just after. But the unstaking fee here, 0.1% fee, is not concerned by the change from 0.1 to 10%. It's something else. So just to finish, to speed up a little, inside Bifrost Finance, you have some DEX. It's a classic AMM V2 50-50 pool. You have some pool with an excellent liquidity, like VKSM, VBNC. You see VKSM, you have 1 million of liquidity, what is really nice. For DOT, for Moonriver, for example, is really low. DOT, we have only 150,000, so it's not enough. But as the liquidity is low, it means that you have more opportunity of arbitrary. But for the ecosystem, we must expect to have more liquidity because it will be better for the ecosystem. If you check the API between a token and a V token, a liquid staking token, there's something interesting. If the APR it's more bigger than 50% of the staking reward, it means that it's more interesting to put their liquidity inside the pool. Example, the V dot here you win 24%. So if you put all your V dot inside your dot inside V dot, you will have 24%. But if you make 50-50 in the pool, you will have 50% at 24% and 80% for the full dot and V dot, you will have 18%. So globally, it's like you receive on one part, you receive 20% plus 18%. The other part you receive 18%. And so if you divide by 2, it means that your global APR will be at 30%. Because you will receive your 18% on the dot and the V dot. So it's a simple calculation to know if the farming is more interesting than to be only in liquid staking token. It's to make this little check. If it's more bigger than 50% of the staking reward. Currently, the project don't have focus to make more and more pool and others. They have do it at the beginning in Bifrost Kusama, but they are stop. Now, what they focus is really their liquid staking token, and it's for this we have in Polkadot side only Glimmer v Glimmer, dot v dot, fil v fil. There are a small pool, BNC dot, that I think nobody know available in Polkadot side, because this pool don't have been created to be really used. It have been created to give the possibility to use dot as a gas fee for the network. So when you don't have BNC to pay your transaction, you can use dot to pay your transaction inside Bifrost Finance, and to use this small pool to pay your transaction. It's for this you never see communication inside this pool. Now I want to speak of the different news around Bifrost Finance, really news very recent. The BNC token is now available since yesterday inside the Omnipool of HydraDX. If you remember previous week, we have speak when HydraDX was developing some good topic during the news part of the show, and we have said to you, you need to go look what do HydraDX in this month. And now you have the BNC live in the Omnipool. The liquidity have been put by Bifrost protocol himself, and so they are already a good liquidity. So it's very interesting, and it's very nice to see that Bifrost continue to have to explore to be available in more network. It's ongoing, we know, for the future to have the BNC available, I think, in Astar, if it's not already the case. And also the Omnipool, it's on the pipe in the next month or maybe 2 months maximum to have the VDOT token also. So the VDOT will be also available inside HydraDX pool, Omnipool. And so this is very interesting. We see that there are a good, the network continue to grow, there are more features that arrive. Because the liquid stacking token is not only to have it on Bifrost and that's all, you have the unstaking and staking. It's not interesting. What is interesting is to have it in other network. Also on the pipe, it's to have the VDOT as collateral inside Interlay. We don't know yet when it will be done. Maybe for the end of the years we will have it, but VDOT will be one of the collateral available for Interlay. What is very interesting. Now let's speak of something more economic and something it's really, for me, a good point. I don't know if you know, but do you know, for example, Oyster, when you stake Ethereum in Lido, do you have some fee on the staking or not?
It's my understanding they charge a fee on the staking rewards. So not the fee, not the total amount that's staked, but just the amount that gets paid out to the total pool, that they have a fee on that.
Yeah, and you know the percentage?
I don't know, but I'll always hazard a guess. I'm gonna guess 20, 25 basis points.
No, 10%. So every time you have some ST in Lido, when you receive your reward of staking, you will lose 10% of them. 10% of them is used to pay the people that manage the protocol, the treasury of the protocol, everything, to make live the protocol. In Bifrost Finance, if you was looking at the website, if you was making a token, there are a small here 10% slash 0.1% of the reward fee. Because to attract people inside the protocol, the commission rate was put at 0.1%, what is nothing. They plan to restore the commission to 10%. 10% is really the average commission take in all the liquid staking protocol. There are some protocol like, I think, Rocket Pool take more than 10%. I think it's 15% of Rocket Pool. But Lido, it's 10%. and Bifrost will begin at 10%. So this, it's a key point because it will make a stable source of revenue for the protocol. There are many protocols we don't know what is their source of revenue, how they finance themselves, except to sell the token they have created ex nihilo on the people. Here, you have a clear source of revenue for the future. This change have been done in Bifrost Kusama side already. It will be done clearly before the end of the year on Bifrost Polkadot. And this for me, it's a huge news. Why? Because we can make some simple calculation. Very basic mathematics, very simple. If I take at the current price, the current number of token reward, the current stacking, if I calculate 10% of the reward, it means that every year the protocol will generate $330,000 in 1 year. It don't look huge, but in reality, it's really not so bad. Why? Because this number represents already 4% of the protocol. So 4% of the protocol, it means that in 20 years, it's the full value of the protocol. If you look on the stock exchange, they speak very often of some ratio on stock exchange for Amazon, Facebook, and others. They speak of the market cap divided by the revenue of the company. And this makes often some ratio between 15 to 50 for some high-tech company. And so a ratio of 20 is really something normal on stock exchange. And we are in crypto world. So for me, this ratio is huge.
But how much does a blockchain developer cost?
Of course.
$250,000 a year? You know, like
of course.
And this is my biggest problem with a lot of these DeFi protocols. Obviously, I'm as big into this as you are, but the path to viability for a lot of these is so murky. Like
I know.
Bifrost Finance, we accept is
But it's
very
a beginning
reputable and is doing a great job. It's the beginning, and the chart you showed at the start was very, very bullish. You know, we could see it is going in the right direction, but you know, bumping it up to 10%, like, are you like 10%'s the max? I think like people aren't going to want you to charge 15 or 20. So 10%, and we're making 300K. It's like, okay, so realistically, we need to 10x the total amount we have staking. I don't know that many Filecoin guys.
You need to don't forget something. We are on the, from my point of view, we are inside the bear market, really the bear market. If every token take multiplied by 10, the reward is multiplied by 10. Even if the BNC token don't change. Because it's a percentage of the reward. So if the token of every token is multiplied by 10, the reward is multiplied by 10. It's a work also the other way.
If every token multiplied by 10, next week's episode is going to be on my yacht. Okay, it's going to be great. You know,
yeah, you see what I mean. My objective.
Everything you're saying is very logic. It's very. I just come from like my whole background's in traditional finance or like just normal finance. And in normal finance, we don't believe anybody. We don't believe Amazon. We don't believe
it's
Warren Buffett, let alone the crypto people. But I accept everything you're saying is fantastic, and it's great to see people. It's great to see the project at least making some sort of effort towards getting to, as I would call, viability. You know, getting to enough revenue that they can pay more engineers and keep the engineers running. And because in my perspective, like I get that VC starts these projects, but it's engineers that's the lifeblood. You know, paying expensive engineers is how you keep growing your piece of the pie. I do think this is great, and I would love to see them onboard even more staking products, and hopefully that's what they're planning on doing.
Yeah. And during this time, I need to inform you. I don't know if you know, but the number of circulating supply of BNC on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap is not the good numbers. It's the numbers only on Bifrost Kusama side without Polkadot side. So for everybody, when you want to check the market cap of BNC, currently we are around 50% of the network, 45, 47% of all the token inside the circulating supply. So don't believe the number in CoinGecko, it's more 50%. So the current market cap of BNC, it's more 8 millions.
Okay. So I think and no presumptions made, but I'll just ask, like, is this Excel spreadsheet getting at the point that because the total revenue is increasing for Bifrost Finance by a significant margin, and because we presume that or we hope that the trend of the amount of assets on Bifrost Finance is also increasing, that this is an opportunity to get long the Bifrost token? Do you think that it translates just as like one-to-one, more liquid staking, more fees, token equals higher? Or is that incorrect to presume that?
Me, I will presume nothing. It's the people to make their own analysis and to see what they think. Me, I present just fact, numbers, and after it's the people to make their own conclusion. I will not give any financial advice. It's to you. Me, all my strategy is often based on I don't care of the price of the token because I don't know how the crypto will evolve in the future. But here I just show numbers. Currently, we are at this state. They plan to have a commission at 10%. 10% of this commission represent 4% of the current market cap. So it's mean a ratio of 1 on 20. And if I compare to stock exchange, it's make this. After is to you to see what you believe, how you feel it, and others. You can feel, oh, but no, it will never, blah, blah, blah. There are many different topics to analyze, not only this. So I will not give any advice.
That's a very mature answer of you. See me, I'm a gambling man. So when I see number go up, I want number go up. You know what I mean? I have a
We don't
passion
know.
for the game, you know?
Yeah, but we have seen some game. Sometimes it's not very good. So me, I don't make any advice. It just give you information, and after it's up to you. From my point of view, what is important is to use protocol first.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
To finish, I have been aware yesterday that a new tokenomics of Bifrost Finance have been released on their website. It's really recent. They have do it less than a week. They don't have communicate yet on it. But for me, inside this tokenomics, there are two important points. First, they will create a new token, the VEBNC. The VEBNC, it will be a governance token for the holder of VBNC. So this solves one big issue of the liquid staking. Because liquid staking, we have said, is to give more option to the user. But currently, when you make liquid staking, it's remove you one big and important option. The right to vote on chain to the different governments. I think if we are all inside the Polkadot ecosystem, it's because we believe in the governance inside this ecosystem is better than the other ecosystem. But by the liquid staking, you lost this right to vote. I have already spoke with some people in the Paris.com and others to ask this question because for me, it's a key point. Liquid staking must give more option and not remove option. So to have the right to vote with your liquid staking token, it's important. And here, Bifrost is working and will give a solution first for the BNC token, but maybe they will extend it for some other token on the future. And so for me, I appreciate to see that they're working on this subject because for me, it's not a little subject. The second point we see nice in this tokenomics, it's for what they will use the treasury. And so the treasury will be financed by the 10% we have seen before. And as it have been put here already on the Polka Assembly description of the proposal, and what we can see on the tokenomics, it will be used for different topics. So against the risk, some slash assurance, some ecosystem grant, system of arbitrage. I will be surprised to see this. I don't know what it will be. But if you can use to our system of arbitrage, they can call me. I'm happy to speak of it with them. Some BNC buyback. So they plan to buy back some token with the treasury. So it means that a part of the 10% will really use to be a buyback on the token. Not 100%, only a part. Some marketing and others, trading pair liquidity, maybe to give liquidity, for example, on the Omni pool and others. Let's see. So this is my different news I have for Bifrost Finance and my presentation. I don't know if you have other question on the chat or the hoster.
I have more questions. If the chat has one, they should ask now, but I'll go first. And it kind of directly relates to the first piece of news I have in that we see a lot of projects, especially not, let's be honest here, especially not blue chip projects, but we see a lot of projects go for this, oh, we're changing the tokenomics. It's going to be one of the first pieces of news I talk about today. And when I started out in crypto, I was like the original Bitcoin people. I still am at my heart a Bitcoin person. And fundamentally, a lot of the USP of Bitcoin is the tokenomics. It is that we have this fixed supply and that demand should either stay the same or increase, which should drive up the price of Bitcoin in US dollar terms. Now, my question is, excluding Bitcoin, excluding Ethereum, in the real world, like tangibly speaking, how much do you think projects rejigging these tokenomics actually affects the market price of the token? Because let's be honest, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to move the price of the coin up by changing the tokenomics. And I'll admit that for me personally, my opinion has changed on this multiple times. Before, I used to think like, oh, tokenomics is everything. If you burn coins, price go up. If there's less coins, price go up. Like if there's more coins, price go down. But the more kind of experience I get, or the more times I see projects do this, the more I start to think that excluding that initial move from the news of the tokenomics changing, I'm starting to think that just because you change the denomination of the currency in your wallet, so if we have a 100 euro note, or if we have 100 ones, that doesn't really change the demand for the €1. It doesn't change the demand for the euro coins. But, if on the other hand, if we had a 100 euro note, but then Europe started exporting loads of oil and gold, that would change the demand. Euros would now start to rise in value. So the question here, maybe excluding the buybacks, do you think this trick, I'll say, of adjusting the tokenomics that we see so often in crypto now, do you think that net on average has a positive effect on the market price? Because that's like no bullshit. Like that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get the community a bit of love, get the bids out there. But what's your opinion on how that affects market trading?
Alors, my opinion, if I look in the real world, all the board of the big company don't care of their company. The only topic they care is what is the price of their action in the stock exchange, because they receive a lot of stock option and they care only of this. And we see a lot of company changes of logo, changes of sentence, changing. For example, they change the price of their action. They divide by 4, they divide by 10 to change the price and others. All this type of topic, it's exactly the same. And all the big companies in the world do it. So it's not something special for crypto for me. Everybody in finance have always do this. It's a normal way for them because the only topic they look at what is the price of their stock, and they will make the topic to make it change. So they will make different communication of us. Everything is like this in the normal world. So for me, it's not something specific of crypto. After, concerning the change of tokenomics and crypto, for me, yes, you have some project that change it just to make pump the price and others, blah, 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 with some bullshit and others, with fake tokenomics and others. After, for me, it's normal on the life of a project in crypto or inside the normal world inside the company. It's not when you create a company the first days, then you know what will do the company in 3 years. Maybe you sell sausage today and in 3 years you will sell waffles. You have no idea. No, it's true. It's true. You have no idea.
It's true, brother.
So
It's
for
true.
me, it's normal when a company change their economics, change their white papers to evolve with the time. Until it's not done for bullshit just to pump the price, for me, it's something normal inside the life of a project. If a project never change it, I will find it surprise for me. So me, I'm more clever than you on this. But it's mean also than us. We need to more analyze the economics and others. I'm not a very good on this type of topic, but clearly, for me, it's not a bad signal if a project changed economic, if it changed it with a reflection to make it clever and others. For example, if I look at the economic of Astar, they make a new version, and I think it's a clever move and others. It's not a bullshit just to make pump the price. I think it's because they want to change some real topic. There are some real problematic in the previous economic of Astar. We all know it. If you look some point, really, we know there are some problems. And here they look to change it. So it's nice. I don't see a problem to a protocol to change the economics.
Yeah, no, I also don't see a problem with people doing it, and I love that point you made of like sometimes it's more suspicious if the team doesn't do anything, they just kind of like sit on their hands. Um, but a lot of the times I do see on net it's it's more of a sleight of hand. And the problem is it's a sleight of hand that you get away with in crypto, which you don't get away with in stocks. If you do a stock split or a reverse stock split, you're not going to create any more value in the short term. Like you're just not. Like Wall Street is smarter than you. You cannot just do a reverse stock split and pump the stock. It's just not going to work. But in crypto, you can just tell people, oh, we're going to do a burn. We're going to burn coins. And then like, the market will react in such a way. So maybe I'm just like, I feel like the more I get into like actually trading hundreds of thousands of volume, millions of dollars in volume every day, the more kind of just like jagged and skeptical I get about everything. Like the more I just don't believe anybody. I'm just like, no, man, like the price
I
is the
believe
price.
anybody. It's for this. For example, I run some bot. I don't use any API give by project. I redo everything by myself because I want to be sure to have the good information and I want to be sure to check everything myself of what happened on chain. So I don't believe nobody also. Don't worry. So I think we have finished for Bifrost. I have been a little long. Maybe we'll switch to you and with your different news.
Yeah, no, that was actually that was really great, and it ties into the news I'm going to do. Because we're already pretty much running up on the time, I'll
I'll let you see.
I'll I'll tr I'll try keep it short and sweet. My plan for this is I'm gonna try do what they call in management a shit sandwich. And what is a shit sandwich? Shit sandwich is when you want to give someone some bad news. You give them some good news. You say, no risk. You're a beautiful man. And then in the middle, you say, I'm not happy with, the way you talked to Karen in the lunchroom. And then at the end, you say, your bots are doing great for the company. So here we are. So we'll start with some good news, as we were talking about earlier. I'll just present my screen. One sec. Entire screen. This one. Here we are. We're going. We're rocking. We're rolling. You can see it. So as we mentioned earlier, Astar have decided to change the tokenomics of their native token. They have made some, I would describe, more minor changes, but they have had an impact. And as No Risk said earlier, there are a lot of people asking for this. So what they've brought in is they're going to begin dynamically adjusting the amount of token emissions. They're also going to start burning certain tokens, burning certain amounts of tokens, and they're going to bring in a tiered incentive structure for people building on Astar and people staking on Astar. What I do think is very interesting about this is how quick it seems to have caused a lot of discussion. I do also think it's very interesting how quick we've seen it affect the market price. We have seen in the last month the price of Astar rise pretty significantly from, around the 5, 6 cents region to up closer to 7 cents. Obviously, that's what the people want. I find that quite interesting. I think it's something that we've touched on today and has definitely had an impact in the market. Now, where I'm a bit maybe different to No Risk is I'm very skeptical about the long-term changes this makes to the actual project and protocol. I'm not sure if this is the path to success in the future. I don't think rejigging your accounting really changes your business. And that's what I kind of equate this to.
But here there are a little of
Um,
business change for me because, for example, the reward, you know, when you stake in a star, you need to choose
mhm.
someone to delegate your power and they receive money. You need to choose a project. And here they have changed the way of calculation. It will change how they distribute the reward because with the previous solution, there are a big issue of first in take the majority of the vote because the people never change how they delegate their staking. And so this makes then the early project, some do nothing and they receive some free star for nothing. And here they are rework on this subject to try to give more of their token to the good project they make development and others. So there are really some subject to make the distribution better. Also, they have reduced the inflation and the token give, for example, for collator. The collator will receive 50% less token. And so some people, they will dump less token. So no, if you make attention and do clever clever new version of your economics, you can have really some change, I think. So it's not because in the majority it's a bullshit, then it's always bullshit. Here for Asta, I don't have the feeling it's a bullshit redo of the economic. For these two cases, for example, I give to you. And I'm clearly not an expert on it.
Yeah, no, on net, I do completely agree with you. I do think that this is a net positive for everyone using Astar. I do think it's a net positive for the Astar community, and I do think it's obviously been a net positive, and hopefully will continue to be a net positive for the Astar token price. As I just said earlier, I'm just generally very jaded, and changing the accounting doesn't generally get my gears going because it's changing supply, but it's not changing demand. But on net, I think this is fantastic news. Congratulations to the Astar team. If you're watching, we'd love to have you on someday and we can chat about DeFi on your chain. So now that you've had your little taste of juicy good news bread, we're going to go on to a topic that unfortunately hits quite close to home for our friend No Risk. And that is that unfortunately, Tether will be stopping support for USDT on the Kusama network. I'm sure many of us heard about this. I'm sure there were some bot operators watching this show today that are disappointed or affected by this. Obviously, let's be honest, this is quite a hit to the ecosystem in general. Even though sometimes it can be very easy to say, oh, there were only a couple of $1 million of USDT being minted on Kusama. The bigger issue is that for a project like Kusama or Polkadot to get native USDT minted on that chain, they need the Tether protocol to actually approve minting and burning on that chain and then manage minting and burning on that chain, usually via a centralized exchange of some sort. And the problem is once you fall out of that flow, once you fall out of that ecosystem, once support gets turned off, it's very, very hard to convince people to turn it back on. Because as we'll find out in our next story, when you go to one of these big stablecoin issuers and you say, hey, we have this cool blockchain, we need your stablecoins for XYZ reason, they're going to ask only one question, like, how much demand is there? How much liquidity is there going to be needed? How can we make money out of this essentially? Um, and while that, when times are good, can be relatively easy to convince some of these executives at Tether or Circle or whoever, like, oh, we're doing big things, we're going great places. Once you fall out of the loop, it's very hard to convince them that, oh, we've turned it all around again and we're back in the game. So I do think this is a big blow to Kusama, and would love to hear your feedback, Mr. No Risk.
But I think, sadly, but it's look normal because it's not rentable for them to maintain USDT in Polkadot and Kusama. What is nice is we see they stop only on Kusama. So it means they will not stop on Polkadot. Because for sure, if they are questioning for Kusama, they have questioning for Polkadot in the same time. So it means that for the moment is good for Polkadot. But it also means that, yes, it needs to be used. The USDT in Kusama was not used. It was so boring. Near nobody, nowhere available, only Bitfinex. USDT on Polkadot side can be withdraw or deposit inside Bitfinex, but also Binance. Also, your reason is need to be used. So it means we can say it, all the protocol, all the team members of a protocol and others, your treasury, if you have some treasury on USDT, convert it inside USDT of Polkadot to making growing the number of USDT in circulation supply. What they look, it's the circulation supply of USDT. So if a team have 10 millions of USDT, let's go convert 2 millions inside Polkadot side. Make grow up the liquidity inside the network. It's the responsibility of everybody.
I agree with you, and I think like the net profit that was declared last quarter by Tether was in the billions of dollars. They're making billions of dollars just sitting on large amounts of cash. They made a bigger net profit last quarter than BlackRock. BlackRock own most of the world. So normally I'm a real dollar and cents guys. I'm a real like, oh, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense, cut it, kill it. But I kind of feel a little bit hard done by Tether here because, you know, what, 300K a year max would be their max cost. If you hired a full-time engineer to just do KSM all the time, and that's all he did, 300K, and that's going to tick over. I don't think that's that much. Like, fine, Kusama may be a losing money blockchain for them, but they're making billions. Like, they're in the crypto world. A lot of us have supported Tether through many bad times. It's not like Tether have the best reputation, is the most honest people. So
After Tether
I'm a little
don't
bit
have a good
disappointed.
Tether have not a good reputation, but from my point of view, from a technical side, it's always Tether that has the most reaction with an issue inside the protocol to make the freeze of USDT and over. Me, okay, Bitfinex, Tether, we can say some topic. For me, they are here since long time. It's working good. Each time the technical reaction of Bitfinex or Tether is very good. It's really powerful and others. Okay, maybe they have do some bad topic on the past. I think now they win enough money to make their work good. Me, I don't have bad feeling with Tether. I know it can look strange because the people say, oh, blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry, huh? But when Tether unpeg, it's a joke. It just repeg, that's all. It's more harder in USDC than USDT. Huh?
No,
So,
it fundamentally it repegs because they allow market makers to redeem, which
yeah,
is in essence verification that they do have the collateral backing.
yeah.
All I'm saying is, and I also I've gone back and forth on this a few times, but I do think Tether have the collateral backing for their USDT. I just think, you know, this should just be a cost of doing business. Like if they're making billions of dollars on their top 2 or 3 chains, they should be willing to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bottom 10 terrible chains. And
It's
no
what they do.
offense to our Kusama. Yeah, they should do that. They just should do that. And, you know, it sucks.
Kusama, it's
It
what
sucks they're
market
not
cap?
willing to do that.
Kusama, it's which market cap now?
It's low, my friend.
Kusama is top 167. Just they make analysis and they say, okay, we have do it. It have cost money to them to deploy in Kusama. Nothing happened in Kusama. They stop it. For me, it's normal. It's business.
It's business. Yeah, at the end of the day, that's you hit the nail on the head. Fundamentally, it's just business. They're not making money. There's no demand. There's no activity. Let's be brutally honest. I think both me and you know there's very little transactions. It's not like
Yeah.
people are busily doing even small transactions over here. So it's completely understandable, but I'm sure for many of us, it's a bit disappointing. Um, So on that sad note of that's the little bit of shit in the middle of the sandwich, we'll go on to a slightly more positive note as something that very many of us, myself included, have been waiting for, something that all of us were talking about at Polkadot Decoded this year and at the Polkadot Summit, and that is um, Circle adding USDC, native USDC onto Polkadot. On top of them adding onto Polkadot, they're also adding onto Base, that's the Coinbase chain, Cosmos, that's Polkadot's competition, the interoperability chain, Near Protocol, Optimism, that's an L2 on Ethereum, Polkadot, and Polygon. Obviously, we're here for Polkadot, so that's us. But I actually think it's fantastic news that Circle are willing to do this. I don't think, and I think it's very easy sometimes for internet people to just be like, oh, this was just like they clicked the fingers and it was done. But in reality, a huge amount of work went into getting Polkadot native
Of course.
USDC. I think this will unlock a huge amount of value. And I know there's teams like Dam Finance, there's teams like SellSwap, there's a lot of other teams that want to use USDC, that want to kind of get this extra liquidity, get this extra little bump. And I think that this is a really great news for all of us. I think at the end of the day, nothing bad can happen out of this. It'll just hopefully bring more users, hopefully bring more eyeballs, definitely bring more liquidity. And at the end of the day, like we do, as we've all learned in this ecosystem, we do need to hedge our bets with these stable coins. If one stable coin goes down, we really don't want to just be all the way back to square one. And also having native tokens is, for me anyway, I feel much safer holding a native token than holding a wrap token. I can't sleep at night if I was to hold any kind of meaningful percentage of my money in just wrapped coins. But I think this is great news. But what do you think about this? Would you use native USDC on Polkadot? No risk.
I think you know my point of view of bridge. It's hard for me to use some bridge token. You don't know how it will be managed in others. I like native token. I don't want to have a copy of a token. I want the original one. So for me, this is very important when we have USDC and USDT inside Polkadot ecosystem, but not a bridge one, an original, a native one. So for me, it's very important. It's a great news. Let's see when it will be happen because it's not confirmed, it's not official, but the rumors is good sign. And we see the topic realistic. Base, Cosmos, Near Optimism, Polkadot, Polygon. It's like something credible. And if USDC want to retake a better part of the market, they need to extend their solution of more network than only Ethereum. And so I think it's logic for USDC to try to take some new market.
For sure. For sure. I think we've run a little bit over time. But I'll stop sharing too. But do you want to wrap up with any final thoughts, sir?
No, for me it's good. I think it was a great show. We have seen many different topics interesting between all your different news and the different topic for Bifrost. Do you know what you will present next week, Oyster, during the show?
As of right now, it's a mystery topic, my friend.
Oh, it's a mystery
You'll
topic.
have to tune in next week to find out, my good sir. Straight crack. But I'll definitely be spinning up some Bifrost bots though. This instant unstaking most of the time seems right up my alley, or like this relatively quick unstaking seems like something that I would
Let's see.
like to sink my teeth into,
We have seen a suggestion in the chat to speak of Astar if you want. If you don't know of what to speak,
Okay.
Mini logo have
All right.
subject to make Astar.
All right, the people have spoken. The people have spoken. Astar, we'll try our best. We will
Allez, we will
try our best to
try.
do Astar next.
So you will need to speak of Algen. The liquid
We'll
stacking
speak
of
of it all.
Astar.
We're gonna speak about everything, my friend. It's gonna
Okay,
be
okay.
it's gonna be monumental. But
Eh
yeah,
ben,
it was an absolute pleasure.
I think thank you everybody to have come to this show. It was a pleasure to present you again some subject. Thank you, Upster, to have take of your time. It's very late for you, so you will need to go sleep soon. And have a nice day.
Ciao, everybody. See you next week.
Bye bye.